Welcome back to the Resilient Entrepreneur Podcast. This is Kevin Johnson of Leverage Consulting. And I don't know about you, but I am a little wound up this week. Part of it is because I've had about 2 cups of Death Wish coffee today. But last week, I spent all week with a group of phenomenal entrepreneurs, people who have grown and overcome so many different things. And this is going to be another series of podcasts that I do because it's just so much content and so much great stuff that I want to share. But one thing I did want to do with you today is talk about something that I believe some of us really, really know, but sometimes we don't always put it into application. And this is a business formula, a formula that some people really get wrong, but they also know other aspects to this formula. They know certain sayings about this formula. So if you've ever heard the phrase or the concept that, you know, if you get around a person and you want to do business with this person or you want to relate to this person, what it is that you do for a living. They talk about doing your elevator pitch. And I believe most of you know and understand that. But there is this other aspect in business where I do believe a lot of people have a misconception, a misperception about time equals value. And many people feel like the more time that you give an individual, the more value they get. And that's not actually true. In fact, it couldn't be any more false. And I want to provide you a couple of different examples. Just think again. I was visiting with a bunch of entrepreneurs. It was in a vacation location, and great place is in Cabo, Mexico. And let's just think about this question for a moment. If you had gone to the same meeting and the accommodations were poor, or the staff were not so great, they weren't very attentive, or they didn't answer your questions, or they weren't even trying to figure out how to make you enjoy your vacation, help you enjoy your vacation. If you'd scheduled to be there for 1 week, well, staying for 2 weeks doesn't make it any better. So I think I'm guessing we can agree on that one. There are times where if you went to ask someone about a vehicle, or you ask someone about a phone or something like that, just because they spend an hour doesn't mean they're providing you with any more value than what they may have in 5 minutes. And I want you to think about something. In fact, you may be listening to this through your tablet or your phone, and that's where most people spend their time today. And because so many people spend so much of their time in today's world in their electronic devices, our attention spans are growing shorter and shorter and shorter. It wasn't just the impatient, high D type personalities that are running a business or anything of the sort. Back when, it may have been more to do with people's personalities that related to being a business owner or an executive or something of that nature. In today's world, I think that same thing applies to everyone, but in a different way. And it's because a lot of people that you may be interacting with, their attention spans have gotten so much shorter, so much smaller, because they're on their device. So think about the different platforms that you could be on, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or any of these different ones. You know, if you get on certain platforms, you're limited to 140 characters. You get on another platform, and if that video hasn't captured your attention in 5 to 10 seconds, you and all your boredom are going to scroll on to the next one. So think about having more and more impact in a much shorter period of time. Sometimes that means, and you have to think about yourself and how this applies. You may also have to think about your team and how this applies. And you may think, again, that talking, if someone asks you one question, you may believe that talking more is going to provide more value. And I will argue that spending more time with that individual, just free flowing of information or conversation, may actually be doing the opposite of what you were hoping for, which is that person getting more value. So if you have a new patient process, or if you have a new client customer process, think about how we can have the most amount of impact in the shortest period of time. If they want more love, if they want more information, if we read body language, if we listen to them, we'll find out that they do want more. But with that, think about what I just said. If we listen to them and if we watch their body language, even if it's over the phone, you can pick up on body language cues. Even if it's over the phone, you can pick up on the verbal cues that may be giving you body language cues. You pick up on the verbal cues, whether it's just their tone, how they're talking, their pace, their pitch, their timing. You pick up on those things. Then you can modify this. You may pick up on the fact that they're sounding a little impatient. Call it for what it is. It sounds like you might be in a bit of a rush. Would you like me to get to the point? Or if it's something where they're sounding like they've checked out, say that. Say it sounds like maybe I've run a little bit far down the road and I need to back up and maybe answer a question for you. Tell me where you're at with, and then, whatever it is that you're doing. But think about the big picture of your new client, customer, patient acquisition process, and whether it's something that's really providing a ton of value. It's not about the shortness of this. So some of my clients, they may spend anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes on the phone with a new patient. And when you have that opportunity, you have to think about, and I know that sometimes those folks, the new people coming to visit you, you may feel like, they don't have any time for this. However, you have to think about this. You're the Sherpa. You're the one that's going to provide them the direction. You're going to show them how to have a great time, how to have a great initial visit, a great initial impression of your business. And it's up to you because no one else is going to do it. So there is this double-edged sword, a balance of making sure that it's long enough, not too long, but also that we're providing a ton of value. And I can tell you what is not value. Asking their phone number, their address, and all those types of things, just the basic core information, none of that is value. Zero. It's a data collection process. I can do that with an app. I don't need a human being for that. So if we think about what we can do to provide value, how about learning a little bit about them, learning a little bit about their objectives, start asking really, really good questions, and start giving them the what to expect in their visit. That's providing value. Carving out enough time to answer their questions, that too is providing a ton of value. And when I just said providing value in the sense of telling them what to expect, that in my own observation is one of the biggest things I see missed. So when I say what to expect, what are we going to do in our first visit? What are we doing today? What should you expect between this phone call and the first time we meet? Those are things that provide value because you can't rely on them thinking about, well, what is our competitor like? Maybe they're coming to you for a second opinion. Maybe they may compare you to other professionals in the field, but your service is so far above and beyond, they don't know what to expect. They're just going off of being told to fill out a form, sit in a corner, sit down, shut up, and wait until you're called. That's not great service. So that may be what they're comparing you against. So if we do a great job of the what to expect before they get here, we tell them who they're going to meet, and even when they get here, what are we doing to show them and make sure they see that we are by far the most superior professional in our area? That will provide value. So if you've gotten anything out of this podcast today, I really, really want you to think about how much time and how much impact you're putting into those first impressions. So many people, you may hear someone getting impatient on the phone or in person, and that's okay because that's something to read off of them. And the fact that you picked up on that in itself could be part of your experience. It might be something that differentiates you from others. So as I said, if there's anything you got out of this podcast, go back and start rethinking your first impressions and whether we're spending the appropriate amount of time and whether we are loading as much value and as much interaction into that to where this person who we want to do business with could not imagine themselves doing business anywhere else. So that, my friends, is the Resilient Entrepreneur Podcast. I hope this one provided you with lots of value today. A couple of pearls in there. And I have another really cool one that's scheduled to come out this Thursday, and I'm really excited for you to listen to that one as well.